Hello, Algebra. This is your lesson on 1-5 on word problems involving inequalities. So today you're going to be taking your first formative of the year. Please make sure you're watching this video before you attempt that. Word problems can be tricky sometimes, and especially when it comes to inequality word problems, there's kind of like a trick to them that you really have to think about. So although you may know how to solve inequalities just straight, definitely make sure you're watching this video. Okay, so here is our warm-up. It says your friends say the solutions to the inequality 6x minus 11x is less than or equal to 15. Our x is less than or equal to negative 3. Solve the inequality correctly. What error did your friend make? So go ahead and pause your video at this point. Take a look at the mistakes that they made and see if you can figure it out and correct them. All right, so welcome back. Hopefully you were taking a look at this and you see they have it set up here. They had combined like terms. So they did 6x minus 11x and they got 5x. And that's correct. And then when they got from this step to this step, what did they do? Well, over here, it looks like they divided by negative 5 and they got negative 3. And they divided this side by negative 5 and they got x. That's right too. So what's the problem? Well, they divided by a negative in this step right here. So because you divide by a negative, you should be flipping your sign. Okay, there's a big difference between x is less than or equal to negative 3 and x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So that was the main mistake. They forgot to flip the sign when they divided by a negative. All right. All right, so today we are going to be still solving inequalities in one variable, but like I said, we're going to be focusing on the real life context, those real world problems, not just solving them. But I do want to just review real quick how to solve and graph your solutions of inequalities. So in this one here, it is a multi-step equation, multi-step inequality. So we need to follow the same steps that we would for a normal equation, just watching out for that inequality symbol. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute my negative 4 to everything inside of the parentheses. So negative 4 times 3x is negative 12x. Negative 4 times negative 1 gives me positive 4. And then my 6x was not a part of that, so it just comes down right underneath. And then we have is greater than or equal to 16. Okay? Now, you may notice on our left-hand side, we have some things that can be combined. We can combine our negative 12x and our 6x. So if we have negative 12 plus 6, we get negative 6x. And then our positive 4 is still over there. Okay, so all we did was we combined those two together. Okay, so right at this step, I can tell right away that I'm going to have to flip my sign. How do I know that? I know that because my coefficient of my variable, my negative 6, is negative. So that means when I get to that step in a minute, I'm going to have to flip the sign. But I have to move the 4 first. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 4 from both sides. So I have negative 6x is greater than or equal to 16 minus 4 is 12. And then if I divide by that negative, ding, 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 in my head, these bells and whistles are going off. I get x is less than or equal to negative 2. And that is my solution. Okay, so don't forget about flipping that sign. That is usually the #1 mistake when it comes to solving inequalities. All right, so when you're doing your number line, remember you don't have to go crazy. I'm going to put my negative 2 here in the middle, and I'm going to pick 1 or 2 numbers on either side. So remember, if this is negative 2, that means that this is negative 1 and this is 0, and this is negative 3 and negative 4. Okay, so just remember that I've seen before where people put this on this side and this on that side. So just make sure you're using a real number line. Okay, so then when it comes to our shading, first of all, I'm going to have a circle here at negative 2. Is it going to be open or closed? Well, you look at the symbol, I see I have equal to symbol, so I'm going to shade it in. Okay, so if you're drawing these by hand, please make sure that I can tell whether it's shaded in or not. And then I want all of the numbers that are less than or equal to that. So that would be all of our numbers that are here on the left-hand side. Okay, so just show me that we're going in that direction. Okay. All right, very similar. This time we have decimals. Don't be afraid of the decimals. A lot of people kind of are turned away by them. They're not too bad. You got a calculator. You can use it very easily. Okay. All right. There is a calculator in the resource section. It is not the TI-83 that we have in class, but it is the one that you will use on MISA and on map testing and MCAP and all that. All right, so this time I have x's on both sides. So I need these guys to get on the same side together. So I am going to subtract. I try to avoid negative numbers, so I'm going to take the smaller one from the larger one. So we're going to subtract the 1.5x from the 3.5x. All right, so those cancel out, and we have negative 7 less than or equal to 19. And then 3.5 minus 1.5 is 2. There we go. All right. So then I have to subtract the 19 from both sides. So I get 2x is greater than or equal to, let's see my calculator, negative 7 minus 19 is negative 26. Sorry, it's Friday. My brain is done. And then the last part, we're going to divide by 2. For you guys, it's Monday, but I'm recording this video on Friday after school. All right, negative 26 divided by 2 gives us negative 13. Oops, sorry, it doesn't it's hard to write on here. Okay, and this time we did not divide by negative. That 2 was positive that we divided by, so that's why we did not flip the sign. So let's go ahead and set up our number line. Again, choose 1 or 2 numbers on either side just so you can represent the numbers. Negative 13 is going to go in the middle. Negative 12, negative 11, negative 14, negative 15. Okay, so when it comes to coloring it in, again, I see the equal to symbol, so I'm going to have a closed circle here at negative 13. And this time, I want all of the numbers that are greater than or equal to negative 13. So that is all the numbers that are on this side. Okay, if you remember my trick that I talked about in class, when you have this symbol, you can turn your inequality symbol into an arrow and it points in the direction. So it's pointing to the right-hand side, and that's which section you shade. All right, so now let's get into our word problems. This is the most important part. Okay, so for this one, Derek wants to order some roses online. For what number of roses is it less expensive to order from florist A than from florist B? Okay, so we have our prices and everything for both of our companies here. And I'm going to go ahead and keep them consistent. I'm going to make the blue for florist A and red for florist B. So florist A charges $4.75 per blue rose plus a $40 delivery charge. So you think back to linear equations, our rate is $4.75 per blue rose. I'm going to call that X, because X is going to be the number of roses. Okay. Plus that one-time delivery charge of $40. Okay. On this side over here, we have florist B is $5.15 per rose plus the $25 delivery charge. So these are the two equations we have. And it says, for what number of roses is it less expensive to order from florist A? So we want this side to be less than this side. Okay. And from this, we can actually solve just like a normal inequality that you guys were solving before. Okay, so I am going to take the smaller one from the bigger one when it comes to our x's. So both sides. Okay, so that cancels out. We have 40 is less than, if I do $5.15 minus $4.75, I get 40 cents. And I still have my 25 over there. All right, so now I need to get this x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit. 40 minus 25 gives us 15. And let's say we have our 40 cents over here. Our last step is to divide by the coefficient. And we get 37.5 is less than x. Okay, so here is where a lot of people stop, but there is one more step to this that we need to keep on going with. We need to make sure we answer the question. And if you go back and look at the question, the first one says, for what number of roses is it less expensive to order from florist A? Okay, well, we got a decimal. Well, we can't buy half of a rose. That doesn't make sense. So to answer that question, it was actually, if he plans to buy less than 37, it's going to be cheaper for florist B. If he chooses to buy more than 37, or actually 38, it's going to be less expensive for the other florist. Okay, so if it's, let's put it this way, less than 37, he should go with B. If it's more than 38, you should go with A. Okay, and actually it could be equal to those two. All right, so if he's buying 37 or less, he's buying roses that are not that many, he should go with B. More, he should go with A. Okay, so really make sure you go back, you think about in context of the problem. This time we're talking about roses. Again, the decimal does not make sense with that, so we need to make sure we go back and fix it. All right, let's talk about this one here. An office manager is selecting a water delivery service. Acme H2O charges a $15 fee and a $7.50 per gallon jug for a 5-gallon jug. All right, so that's our first company, is the Acme H2O. So it's $15 for the actual fee and $7.50 for the 15-gallon jug. And it says per, so that tells me that that's going to have the variable on it. Okay, and then our second company is Best Water. They charge $24 and $6 per 5-gallon jug. So in this case, be careful that 5 is not a part of the problem. It's just how big the jugs are. All right, so how many 5-gallon jugs will the office have to buy each month for the cost of Best Water to be less than Acme H2O? So remember, the left side is Acme H2O, and then the right one is the Best Water. We want Best Water to be less than Acme. Okay, so we set it up as an inequality. All right, 1 second. Let me switch gears here. All right, so if we go through and we solve, I'm just trying to set up my calculator real quick so that way we have the right answers. Okay, if we combine like terms, I'm going to take 6x away from 750. Okay, so I end up with 15 plus $1.50 x is greater than 24. All right, if I take away my 15 from both sides, I get $1.50 x is greater than 9. Okay. And then my last step would be to divide by $1.50. And you should get x is greater than 6. Okay, so this tells us if we were to type this in words, the office will have to buy more than 6 jugs each month for Best Water to cost less than Acme H2O. In this case, we ended up getting a whole number. A whole number makes sense. This company would not buy part of a gallon or part of a 5-gallon jug. They're buying them by the whole 5-gallon jugs. So for this one, that's what it would be. Okay. So make sure you understand it in context of the problem and you can put it in words. All right, one more before I let you guys get started on your test. Charlie can spend up to $8 on lunch. He wants to buy a tuna sandwich, a bottle of apple juice, and X pounds of potato salad. Write and solve an inequality to find the possible numbers of pounds of potato salad he could buy. Whew, a whole lot there. Okay. So it says he wants to buy a tuna sandwich. So we know that costs $4.25. Let's slide this over. Okay. Plus he wants to buy a bottle of apple juice, which is $2.25. And then X pounds of potato salad. This one is per pound. When you see that slash pound, it's $4 per pound. So $4 per pound. We're not sure what that pound is. And we know that he has a total of $8. Now, thinking logically, you can't spend more money than what you have. So that means that his total for lunch, which is on the left, has to be less than or equal to $8. Okay. We don't want that to go any further over $8, but it could be exactly $8. That would make sense. Okay. So if we combine like terms, so 4 and 2 is 6. 25 and 25 is 50, so $6.50. Okay, we are going to subtract 650 from both sides. I know some of you can do this in your head, that's fine, but I always write it out just to make sure that I'm right. So $8 minus 650 is 250. Sorry, 150, and then we're going to divide that by 4. So this would be $1.50. When we divide it by 4, we get X is less than or equal to 0.375. Okay, so in this case, it is part of a pound. It's really 3/8 of a pound. But Charlie can buy up to that much. So you can buy up to 0.375 or if you want to say 3/8 of a pound. Anything more than that, he would run out of money. So as long as he buys less than that, in addition to his tuna sandwich and his apple juice, he's good. All right, so hopefully you stuck with me through all of that and you are now prepared enough for your formative. All of that was a review. It just was a quick refresher for you. For the formative, it is on Schoology. There are 5 problems. You can use your calculator and everything. You can use scrap paper. Calculators are allowed. Please demonstrate academic honesty, meaning you are doing your own work. You are not cheating. You are not sharing answers with everybody. You are doing your own work. Please, please, please try your best. That's the best I can ask from you. Okay, don't forget to hit the submit button when you're done. Okay, good luck, and I will see you in class tomorrow. If you need any help, I will be available in our classroom during this formative. So pop on in. You can ask any questions you need to.